This week, we're taking a look at a delightful story narrative game about a small frog who's preparing for an upcoming tea party.
No more tea!
What the heck?
Howdy folks, and welcome to Being Farm Gaming.
And this is our review of
Teacup!
I'd like to thank the publisher for providing me a review copy of the game prior to its release. It was developed by
Smarto
Club, and it was published by those wonderful people over at Thorn Digital. It was released on September 23rd on all major platforms for the reasonable cost of $9.99. Holy cow! Is this another release from Thorn Digital? You betcha! This week's release is called Teacup, which is a short and wholesome narrative adventure game with a focus on exploration and nonlinear progression. The entire game made me feel as if I'd fallen into an Eric Carlisle children's book.
And he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar.
Thorn has a great track record of bringing us non-traditional games that focus less on player skills, anxiety, or countdown timers to allow for slower and more accessible gameplay. You play as Teacup, a shy and introverted young frog who loves drinking tea and reading. The day before she's to host a tea party at her house, she realizes, oh no, she's completely out of tea. And thus, she must venture into the woods around her to find herbs she needs to restock her pantry. Will you help her on the quest to restock her pantry? Come on, guys! We need more tea leaves! Okay, so not the most riveting of storylines, sure, but unique nonetheless. Thorn's been killing it lately with these console releases. 2 weeks ago, we just reviewed Lake for the Xbox console. And let's not forget one of the farm's favorite reviews from this last year, Calico. Oh. So during your adventure, you'll meet charming inhabitants of the forest, some talkative, some grumpy, but all of them will lend you an ear on your adventure. Most of the animals you'll meet will be glad to help Teacup in exchange for a small favor or some sort of help. The developer of Teacup is a small indie startup team made up of 3 young game makers from Santiago, Chile. This is their first project as a team, and they wanted to create a wholesome game inspired by narrative adventures such as Night in the Woods. And with many small development teams, COVID has really impacted the ability to launch these unknown titles. Teacup wasn't going to happen after the Game Developer Conference in 2020 was canceled. Thankfully, despite the cancellation, they met up with Thorn Games online and were able to pitch the game to them. Thus, we've been given a non-linear storyline that allows for the game to be played at your own pace. I found the entire experience to be a delightful way to wind down the evening hours before bed without the anxiety found in most twitchy shooters. And that's not to say my entire time with Teacup was a complete delight. The stripped-down gameplay and simplistic fetch quests felt extremely hampered by the small environments and lack of ability to interact with many objects. This left me feeling as if this non-linear adventure was drawing a line between me and the next herbal item, which was little or no reason for me to explore off the beaten path. I mean, come on! It seems like opportunity lost in an exploration game that people may like to explore their environment. And although I appreciate the nonverbal vocal sounds given by many of the main NPCs, I feel like Teacup would have found its way into many more hearts if the text was fully voice acted. With no secret areas, hidden rooms, or Easter eggs, I felt as if I was playing a visual novel walking simulator hybrid.
Is that really a thing?
The game throws you into several mini-games, which I found just challenging enough to make me think, but not enough for Mr. Brainbuster to show up here.
Mr. Brainbuster.
Several times I found myself walking the streets and talking with every NPC and storefront I could find in a frantic search for whatever my current objective was. I could have swore that there was an objective listing in the game, but somehow every button I pushed just didn't seem to bring up the objective listing. Due to this overall backtracking and aimlessly searching for more herbs, my total playtime spanned about 3 hours. Which, for $10, 3 hours may be a delightful and entertaining use for your evening, or an afternoon with the kids per se. Teacup had no hidden adult humor or deep-rooted political statements. Rather, it's a wonderfully warm and inviting world for you to explore without the harsh realities outside your front door. Overall, Teacup will go down as an easy completion, and I'm sure with a guide it could be a sub-1 hour completion. I'm personally really glad Smarto Club was able to connect with Thorn and get this game out the door, as I feel it has an extremely unique feel for console games, and the Bean Farm is going to recommend you go ahead and support this studio with your $10, as they've earned these 4 beans out of 5.
Yeah, well, that wraps up that review right there. Here's some notes I took. Where I put the keys to the tractor.
So, we make these new review videos every week, so if you're an indie developer or there's something you want to see
Harvest Moon!
besides Harvest Moon or Call of Pooty, let us know your thoughts and recommendations in the comments down below. Be sure to visit again next week
As we continue to take humorous stabs at some of the industry's new and upcoming titles.
Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time on The Frog.